So I have invented a battery that will last for 6 years instead of 6 hours.
Wow.
We have an entire school coming out. They're very interested in inventing things. And so I'm going to show them about the lights I've invented, the mechanical energy machines that I've invented. Jeff, grab that with your hand, grab that shaft with your hand, and you stop it from spinning. And you turn that.
Oh, you're stronger than him.
Stop it, Jeff.
That ain't gonna happen.
You see that? You see the advantage he has? This big tough guy,
Muscles, Jack.
and this little tiny guy, he kind of hurt his hand.
You've heard about Doc Brown, you've heard about Benjamin Franklin, you've heard about Thomas Edison, maybe Tesla and others. They made big impacts in our society and made life better, maybe a little bit more fun, maybe a little bit more enriching. We're here today with an inventor that's making a big impact on unique rural areas of Africa, right here on your long way home. Come on in and let's check it out. We are out in the middle of the country. Where are we exactly?
We are in West Corinne in Utah, in Box Elder County. We're out in the middle of the valley between the two mountains and on the edge of the Great Salt Lake. And I tell my friends from Africa, I'm out in the bush.
If you're from New York, you're a New Yorker. If you're from Utah, you're a Utahn. If you're from Corinne,
We're a Corinthian.
Yes, yes, that's fantastic. We want to talk to you just a little bit about what you do, how you got into this, and how you're trying to impact some needs in the world. But as far as inventors go, how did this whole journey start?
Well, when I was in school, I wasn't much on what they wanted to teach me in school. I wanted to be doing stuff like this with my hands, and I've always been a tinkerer. I've taught myself and studied about kinetic energy, about leverage, about advantages of gearboxes, and we still have to obey the laws of physics, but you can cheat a little bit. Hey, you ready? Yeah! Hang on! Hang on, somebody! Once an object is placed in motion, the only thing that will eventually stop this is the friction in that bearing and the gravity that's pulling on it.
Right.
This is the principle that I use in my invention that we drill for water with. Once we get it going, it can replace up to a 5 horsepower motor that you would require gasoline or electricity to run. And once you start this flywheel going and you're moving this handle, and so to do it with kids, it's a giant flywheel. And there's a gearbox system coming down through it that with a 3-phase AC generator that turns it into usable electricity from.
Wow, that's fascinating.
You guys like that? I've started exploring all those things and started exploring with some of Tesla's ideas. 1 turn of the merry-go-round equals 23 turns on this. I've been interested in Africa since I was a child. So when I started seeing the need in Africa, I decided to start inventing different things. Every time I see, oh, well, I could build something for this. I could invent something for that. And so I've formed my own organization, Charitable Ingenuity. We've been off and running.
I think that we in Utah, in America, can take power and water and sewer kind of for granted, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I'm out living in the middle of jungle in Zambia, I mean, there is no water unless you get it from the stream. When I'm in the deserts of Kenya, they were drinking out of mud puddles. I've survived out of a mud puddle for 2 weeks. It would probably really done in most people. After a week in the desert, I've showered with a half gallon of water, and that was delivered from a 45-minute walk to a mud puddle. and when the sun goes down, you have a fire and you have a candle, but most people can't afford candles. And if you'll see these ladies, they've got 20-pound poles and they're pounding and pounding and pounding, trying to turn things to flour versus using the mechanical advantages. The cell phone world is out there, but without any ability to charge it. So people literally walk for hours sometimes to get to town, drop their cell phone off at somewhere and charge it and bring it back home. These are magnesium plates. These are carbon, and sometimes I use graphite. If you'd like to hold that up like to the camera or to yourself.
Okay.
This is just dirty water. It's full of microbes, and it's next to the Great Salt Lake out of my water well, so you can
And
see.
look at that. There's a light coming out of there. And so that's counterintuitive to take something electric and put it in the water and it just works. So tell us what's going on to get electrons from there to here. And now it's off.
Now it's off.
Right.
It's sustainable because we have microbes in there that are creating oxygen that is reacting with the magnesium and keeping the system going. This is what I call the liquid light, but I have one that's called the poop light, and it runs off manure because we can create an atmosphere for microbes.
So you've seen this as such a blessing, and you've seen people who don't have it, and you've wanted to do something about it. How did you get into that?
Literally, I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and my wife said, "Hey, there's a lady looking for volunteers to go to Africa." And I said, "Oh yeah, right." She knew that I've been interested in Africa since I was a child, and she just would not leave me alone until I finally called. We ended up bringing 52,000 pounds of books to rural Zambia. Everybody went home. I got left in Africa. I was the only one that was able to stay, physically and financially and job-wise. And I lived out in the middle of the bush in Zambia for a couple of weeks delivering these books by myself, and something clicked inside of me. So
talk to us a little bit about play, like maybe a piece of playground equipment might generate some electricity.
Of course, we have to use human power out there. There's no gasoline, there's no electricity. So I invented a swing set that pumps water, generates electricity, goes into a battery and charges a battery for lighting. I've invented a lot of stuff for human input through play, so it's not this grueling task. I invented just a simple apparatus. You sit and push and pull the handles, and it drives a flywheel, and we use that to run a simple grinding machine that turns corn and cassava into flour. They've gone from this to this. Now it's made things so much simpler for them. These things are part of what I do. This is what I love. When the electricity is coming in from a merry-go-round or a swing, the electricity is coming in all radical. This is called an MPPT controller. It's a very high-tech controller. It looks at that electricity, cleans it up. It looks at the voltage and the amperage, and it wants to put the maximum wattage into a battery. Then from the battery, we can take it out clean, 12 volts, and we can charge one of these that will last, on low, it will last 50 hours on a charge. On high, it will last 25 hours on a charge. And we put these out in the schools.
If someone wanted to help, if someone wanted to get involved, how do they jump in and help?
You can contact me through Charitable Ingenuity under Alan Reiser. If you would like to volunteer, organizations like mine, they're just happy to bring people out there and get them involved.
So as a Corinthian that is in Africa helping with all of these things, what have you learned, and what would you impose on those folks that believe that we're living in some tough times right now? What advice would you have for them?
If you're down and you want help for yourself, help someone else. If you help someone else, you don't have to travel to Africa. You don't have to invent something. There's people here that need help. Personally, my calling is, my personal calling is for Africa. It's a long ways away. It's not for everybody, but the joy that service has brought me, it's hard to measure. And like I say, we're living in tough times. If you need help, help someone else. And service is the best medicine, the best feeling that you can have. Simply doing something for somebody else is the best feeling of love that you can get, that you can enjoy.
What's some great advice. And ladies and gentlemen, Ellen Reiser, who's making a big difference, some great examples and really some great advice to, if you want to make a difference, help someone else. And there you have it from the long way home. Have a great afternoon.